Welcome to Fouts Boxing Theory. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a little bit of we fight, how we train theory with a lot of the stuff going on in, well, I'm going to say the little giant boxing channel, but we're going to be taking a look at a lot of the stuff going on in the Eddie Reynoso camp. We're going to take a look at Teofimo Lopez and his stuff last because he's more like independent. He's going to do his own thing. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Very, very bad. But we're going to be taking a look starting off at Ryan Garcia on his Cobra bag moving around. And what I want you guys to be thinking about is, again, we find how we train. Okay. Now, there's nothing necessarily wrong with the way that Ryan Garcia is practicing his striking, right? But we also want to understand that he's not really applying a lot of this stuff, this technique and this movement, right? Notice there's a lot of not boxing going on while he moves around. Okay, notice he doesn't really have a guard when we take a look at the positions of his hands, right? Now he's kind of moving around, kind of going through some of the motions, right? But it's not all what I call like combat ready, right? Which is why there are so many holes in Ryan Garcia's guard. We know it's not, it's not easy to hit him because, we see him sitting here in this position. Like just imagine Ryan Garcia is sitting on the left side of the line here, right? And then you're about to approach his line and he's ready to do this to you. Like he could just do that at any point. He could just, and if he's long enough, he can just whip it to your liver, right? Hit you to the head, but also could have just been his jab, right? So it's not easy to attack him in spite of the fact that he has all these holes, right? Because he's so fast and he hits, he's so snappy, so violent. But we can see that there's a lack of boxing with what goes on here, a lack of moving around his target, stepping around, a lack of traps. It's mostly like, the striking portion of the fighting, right? When we think about, catching and blocking punches and slipping and, the, other things of first contact, right? And granted, it's a Cobra bag. And I do want to say, I own a Cobra bag. It's super fun. And keeping it at a high pace, right? To keeping it moving, you do have to interact with it quite a bit. Okay, especially if you don't have it bolted to the ground. Like we can see how much tension this one is. Look at how much it's swinging still. So it's really well anchored. The worse your setup is for your Cobra bag, the less weight you get, the more it flops around and all that stuff. The less it's of a good workout you're gonna get, right? But there's a lack of boxing going on with his striking patterns here with his, and again, there's nothing wrong with just practicing your striking. At some point you have to, but we do just want to pay attention to the fact that like, if we watch his training and we're like, okay, this is striking, cool. We still want to look for the place in his training where he turns this stuff into boxing, right? Not just timing the bag. And, I know people want to say he's just working on this or he's just working on this and he's just working on this and, and like that's great, right? But again, I want to remind you guys that this channel is for fighters. This channel is for people who want to be great fighters. This channel is not for fanboys. This channel is not for people who just like film study, okay? This is for people who are serious about getting better at fighting, getting better at boxing, getting stronger, getting faster, getting more vicious and more ruthless, more violent. Check out the Fouts Boxing Academy. It's sick, okay? I'm going to teach you how to do all that stuff. And teach you how to get on the line and do it correctly, right? Notice not a lot of footwork in here. Not a lot of footwork. But, a lot of good stuff in here. A lot of good striking. I think we've got more of Ryan on. Yeah, we got more Ryan here. So we're going to go to Ryan here on the bags first, I think. Internet, are you going to work today? Am I just paused? No, it's just not going to work today. There we go. So the first thing we want to take a look at, okay, is the actual drill that he's performing, right? Slip, slip, roll, and then a little combination. And that's all cool and all, right? It's nice that he's going to be working on stuff. A few things that I want to talk about, okay? And we're going to come back to it a little bit when we see the other guys. But the thing is if you do a roll here and you wind up on the back foot here, right? You already came up with the left hook, right? Shouldn't you already be coming up with a left hook? So you just roll to the back foot. If your opponent just threw a left hook, they're no longer out of position here, right? So you're making them roll under the shot toward their back foot. But it's not like it's a block, like a catch and counter, because you only have so much time to actually hit somebody. So the theory behind this drill, is just not practical, right? Rolling under a left hook and then coming back with the right hand like that, it's just never going to happen, starting with the right hand. So, when you think about we fight how we train and you think about the concept of this drill, it winds up just being a very poorly put together drill. Even though it is important to have somebody in your face telling you, hey, do something right now, move, 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 when he's hitting and swinging that noodle. The actual mechanics of the drill that he was putting together there, they just don't line up in a way that you're going to use them in a fight. Okay? Now, I guess I'll just talk about it right now. One of the biggest criticisms that I have personally of Ryan Garcia is that he doesn't actually combine, like I was talking about earlier, his moving around, his stepping around, and his actual striking. A lot of it winds up being, because he has to sit on the Cobra bag. And you guys see when he's throwing his best Cobra bag shots, he has to be in this very particular position, right? Now, again, look at him when he has to roll, has to charge up his little laser to throw the shot, right? Because the mechanics, they just don't connect here to roll that far away and then spring, snapping back into the right hand there. There's just no fluidity there, breaking your mechanics and your fluidity. You're just not going to be able to really achieve that move very reliably and be able to hit an A-level guy, right? Now, I want you guys to pay attention to that statement, right? It's very important, okay? It's really, really important that you think about that because at the Fouts Boxing Academy, I have a very particular way of doing everything and telling you how to do this and that, and that's why everything is so particular is because we don't train to fight bums. No one here is trying to learn how to beat up your cousin, okay? I'm trying to teach you guys how to beat Tank Davis, how to compete with Terrence Crawford. Okay? Anyway, but Ryan Garcia being able to connect his footwork, right, and his ability to step around with his actual striking. Now, they tell him here to do some stuff here, pivot, and then they show him take a step here and then do this pivot. Don't ever do that. I don't know what the hell they're telling him to do here, but it's funny because you've got this guy here, Eddie Reynoso, who can't move around the bag at all, who can't do this and can't do that, and then his dad, his dad's out there telling him as well, hey, do something, like he's on the right track, like his dad telling him, and then Reynoso comes in and tries to show him but this is not what I don't think that's what his dad means, but his dad knows he needs to do something, right? He's been around boxing all his life. Well, all of Ryan's life and his brother's life, right? But this is a terrible thing to do, this little roll or this little spin here. You don't want to be doing that. You don't want to learn how to. I think somebody who does that, a similar one is Caleb Plant. He does it in the fight with a bunch of bums, and then he does it in the fight with Canelo and gets punched in the face. And if you're not training to beat someone who's better than you, like, what are you doing? Okay. But I do like that he is moving around a little bit. Now, the reason I bring that up, we're not going to watch this one. The reason I bring that up is we're going to take a look. Well, I guess we'll start with Canelo on the Cobra bag here. Take a look at how much he's stepping around. Notice a lot of lunging in Canelo's punches as well. And I don't know if Canelo is always even punching the bag. We see him here punching the bar here. I don't think Canelo understands how to use this tool very well. Again, he's not even hitting the bag most of the time. He's just punching the base of it. And he's you can see that he kind of falls through when hitting this bag and striking. Again, he's not really as snappy and as quick and sharp as Ryan Garcia. So you can expect him not to look as pretty on this bag. But he is practicing some other things, right? Like the pulls, boom, pull. And he had one a second ago with the other side. Bop, bop, pull, right? Something that I teach in my double end mastery bag. And I teach my double end bag mastery on the Cobra bag. All these drills are wind up being the same drills that I teach on the double in bag. But you can check it out. It's $49.99. It's really cool. Check it out. It's really, it's nice. Very nice. It's a pretty nice system. So he does have some extra things that he's kind of doing. There you go. It looks like in this one he might be hitting the bag instead of the base of it. And again, it really changes what you're doing when you're hitting the base of it like that. He might still be hitting the base. Those look like straight punches. Good punches. Um, but again, it's interesting because the nature of this bag, the amount of force you have to hit it with to get it going, right? Like we see him like tapping it here. If you hit a normal double in bag like this, right? It's normally going to kind of move around a little bit for you, right? You don't even have to hit it that, but this thing, it takes a lot of weight to get it going. So it winds up being like a pretty good workout, really good workout. This kind of drill right here is very, very high in uh, I'll say cardio or whatever, but the bag is heavy because it has this spring on it. It's really heavy. It's giving you a lot of resistance. Keeping it, getting your strikes off and bop and juggling it at this pace. It's really, really a tough workout, especially if you're doing like doing a triple jab here. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, like 5 or 6 in a row. And he's like, okay, a little sore, little, stressy, but boom, 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 and keeping it at a high pace, getting some good power into him. It's not easy. It's not easy to use the Cobra bag. But again, it's interesting too because there's a lot of things that I want to say that you can't do on the Cobra bag. It is more difficult. It is more taxing to kind of move around and step around and work on this tool. But you should be trying, right? And that's the point. Is like that's one of the things. How much of this has any boxing to it, right? It looks like he's just juggling it a lot of the times. It's not like he's stepping around or doing full rounds, right? And also when we fight how we train, Canelo always fights in bursts like this anyway, right? And then he takes a step off. He'll do his little L step stuff. He will try to look a little bit fancy, like he's doing stuff when he's trying to rest, but it looks like he's trying to get into a rhythm. He'll make it look like he's kind of doing a thing. Now, Canelo, right? A guy who on average has better control of the line, right? See how he's using the tool here? I like this. Little fan here, okay? Controlling, right? Keeping his hands up when he's moving around, right? Not completely abandoning the line like in this clip right here. I know he kind of put it down a little bit in the last clip, but bringing his hands with him, ready to catch and parry punches. Again, we saw Ryan Garcia. Again, he's not a guy that does that stuff. He's not a guy that. So when he's walking around the Cobra bag, he's in the Philly shell kind of thing, trying to be really tight and coiled on his body so that he can snap on the bag and really kind of go at it, But again, more practicing like his striking. It does look like he's trying to step around a little bit and blend his footwork a little bit better. Yeah, anyway, we do want to take a better look actually at the heavy bag stuff. That's what we really want to take a look at. Which one do we want to take a look at? That's the Cobra bag. Yeah. Is Jaime Mungia only on that one? I thought there was one where they were all on it. Okay. So 1, 2, pull, boom, boom. Now, if you throw a right hand here, and then you're going to be blocking here, this move, you're going to be crossing the line. He could have been throwing a left hook instead, right? Couldn't this just be a left hook? So if you're practicing this on your own, you could do 1, 2, 3, and then another combination, right? Boom, 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 boom. But it winds up being like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like a 5-beat combination. It's basically like 5 punches. But you're not, if you're gonna be blocking a shot from this position here, you might as well be throwing a left hook, right? If you're gonna be crossing the line anyway, kind of just doesn't, again, make all that much sense. But it does help him get coiled here to come up with the next 2 shots here, right? When we're thinking about the routines and we're thinking about our 2-foot punching, we're thinking about our training, getting coiled is extremely important, right? And even though the drills, right, again, Eddie Reynoso, I don't think he was a fighter. He doesn't look like he was ever a fighter, right? no offense, I'm not even trying to be offensive here, right? It's just I don't think he was a fighter, right? But it is one of the things that he does pretty well is getting his guys to coil and pull down. Even though rolling under and coming up with the right hand, right? You're not really doing that, right? Even though you throw a 1-2 here, and then you're gonna block on the right side of the line and then come back with the combination. It's also just not really it's like not really sensical. It's not really the most efficient drill, right? Um, but it is helping him teach his students some very practical stuff. Now again, I want to say that Mungia looks the best doing it. Roll comes up, boom, boom, right? And he's trying to do it like on that beat, right? Boom. And he's trying to get back to the line really quickly with the two. But you can see that the rhythm and the fluidity, it just doesn't work, right? Boom. We can see that he could have thrown a left hook, right? But it just looks or feels kind of weird. Now, Canelo does it a little bit differently, okay? And the reason that Canelo looks more fluid is because he's not waiting for Eddie Reynoso to throw the whip, right? To throw the hook. He's just doing it boom, boom, and he's doing it like, oh, I attacked you, now you're going to attack me, boom, instead of you attacked me, now I'm going to attack you, right? Whereas when Jaime Mungia and Ryan Garcia are doing it, they're the ones going second. In this one, boom, 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 right? Canelo's essentially going first, right? See how he has to come up, finish, and wait and pause, and then throw? Again, it's because the way that the rolling doesn't connect to the punching that he's trying to get in the way that it would actually be a good counter punching drill. Okay? But again, Canelo making the best out of it here, doing a good job of still getting a lot of value out of it, trying to maintain his pace and his tempo. But what I want to point out is getting back to the beginning, we see, right, Ryan Garcia doing that thing. And now, again, I want to give a faux apology to all the coaches that I've ever made. Is this a good coaching video? Because after having trained professional athletes myself, you just see how unruly they really are, right? But if we go back to Ryan Garcia here being a little bit unruly, where's Ryan Garcia? On this drill here. So he's doing the thing with Reynoso, right? Where is it? Come on. Boom, 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 boom. And now, whoa, ba, 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 right? Okay, he tells him to go move and step around. Okay, I thought he was doing it because he wanted to do it himself, because he wanted to be. But one of the problems that I think Reynoso has, number one, if that's the whole drill that they do all day, we saw that it's a bad drill. It's not actually going to make them better, but it will help them get a workout. It will help them get stronger, practice their striking at least, right? But it's not really combat ready stuff that they were doing with the roll and the thing, right? But it's interesting because just having someone there, right, to go or slap a fucking noodle at you so you have something to interact with makes the experience of training so much more bearable, right? And again, like, is that what Eddie Reynoso's best job is being somebody's friend? Like I remember when I was training and I was like full time and I was like, I was bored. I would go to the gym and it's like, okay, I'm going to be here for like 8 hours. Monday through Friday, I was going to the gym as many hours a day as possible. And I was begging my friends to go. I'd be like, Coach, can I just bring with some friends so I'm not bored, so we can spar, so we can do this, so I can teach them, so I can do this, so I can have someone, and he didn't even care. My coach would let me bring as many people as I wanted to the gym as long as I was taking my ass to the gym and training. And, it was one of those things. Even training, right? Like I remember I would be at the gym all day long, and then my coach would show up, and he would show up to teach his boxing class, and he'd be there for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, right? Maybe 15 minutes before the class, then 1 hour class, then another 1 hour class, and then 15 minutes after. And at some point in that before and after, he had to do his mitts with me. And it was just like, I waited all day for that shit. All day. Just to get some a little bit of attention from my coach. And what we would do on the mitts was bullshit. It was bullshit. We would do exactly what was going on with Ryan Garcia when he's on the the thing here. He throws the noodle at him. Where's the noodle? Ba 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 ba. Right, and we were just burning out. And then like I felt like, oh man, in 3 rounds of like crazy burning out on the mitts, I never felt like I was prepared. I felt like I was falling behind because what we were doing on the mitts wasn't really like fight like. And then the fight would come and I would spar and I would have so much more energy than I thought that I would have when I was doing on the mitts, when I was doing these kind of drills, right? But anyway, all that little like theory stuff, you know. Um, but Ryan Garcia stepping around, right? Right, boom, 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 ba ba ba, and then moves, right? This is one of those things I'm not sure, right? Because he's doing that thing where a fighter is going to be like doing their own thing, right? Like he's got his own ideas of what he wants to work on. He knows he only has so much time to train every day, and he wants to do his thing. He has it in his mind, his priorities, right? Um, but I think that it's actively good that he's going to throw that combination and then move and not just sit there. Canelo has a major problem on the line when somebody will throw a combination, or he'll throw a combination, and then someone can counter him. Someone can hit him. Now, he got that big, giant, square head, right? Massive head. He takes a good punch, man. He takes a good punch. It's not always easy to know when he's going to sit there or not, but sometimes he does, and he takes a good shot. But a lot of times it's because of the fact that he's not connecting any of that stuff, his boxing, to his striking. As we can see, like what they're doing with Reynoso, it's so much of it is these striking patterns: boom, boom, pull, boom, 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 pull, boom, boom, right? Or slip, slip, roll, boom, 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 right? Slip, slip, roll, boom, boom. But like all these patterns, they don't have a, you know, in Canelo's case where he was doing the 2-3 and then pulling, not doing or rolling or pulling or whatever, however you would describe what he's doing with on the noodles with Reynoso, but he would do it after he punched, right? Um, but the fact that Ryan Garcia is stepping around in his routines, you know, I think is one of the things that he really needs to learn how to do. He needs to understand that, you know, he's understanding that these guys are not just going to sit on the line with him and let them throw punches at him, right? They're also not just going to waltz right into his punches, right? They're going to come at angles. They're going to try to find ways, right? Like one thing that kept happening to Ryan Garcia is, you know, because his hands are always down, right? Uh, as soon as he lost control of the line, he got feinted a little bit. He would go into the Philly shell and just turn his back a little bit, and his opponent could get free angles, right? Big, big, big wind up. Has to take that big step here. Boom. You can see how particular he has to get too. He has to line his feet up twice. Boom, boom, boom. Here he goes. Boom, boom, boom. Whole little tiny pendulum step inside there. But I think it's really good for him that he's not just standing stationary and throwing the combinations, right? Boom, boom. And again, this is also not a very sensical combination either. If you threw a shot and then you were on that side of the line, you should be doing your defense on that side of the line, not crossing the line. You just threw a right hand at your opponent. If you just threw a right hand at your opponent, you might just be walking into their left hook, right? Like I'm not sure that pulling straight back like this is getting you out of the way of somebody's hook, right? So again, also pulling, you got to crouch, you got to coil, okay? And then we have another round with Mungia. And again, I'm not sure. It's not that I'm not sure. It's definitely just not the most appropriate thing. You know, now it is good if this is just a random punch, maybe if it's a straight punch, but if it's a hook, if it's actually a hook. But even still, if he's throwing a left hand and he's leaving that side of the line, that's fine. But if he's getting to that side and then he has to do defense again, I just don't think it's very good. It winds up becoming, again, he's not practicing any defense on the left side of the line, right? He's only on the right side of the line. But again, like I was saying, it's just nice to have somebody to be playing boxing with you. You know, boxing is a very solitary sport. You know, when you're in the ring, like I know people say you got your coaches as a team sport and this and that, but like I talk all this shit and all this stuff, and like, one of my fighters getting beat up or, got knocked out in his fight, and it's like, I don't share that experience with him. You know, that's his. It sucks for me, right? Like, I don't want to see any of my fighters get knocked out, but like, it is very solitary to be in there. So, um, it is nice that Eddie Reynoso spends so much time. I think he spends time with his fighters. I don't know if they just like decided one day to like meet up and we're like, hey guys, we're all gonna go to the gym today, do some stuff for the Little Giant Boxing channel. Hell yeah, guys. Mm. Or if this is every day, a little bit of head movement. I'm not the biggest fan of this tool. He's not moving his feet at all, so there's a lot of stuff that's kind of missing. But also, like, you don't really need a tool like this if you have a line, right? A line drill. Now, I want you to pay attention to the fact that you see sometimes if you're doing it with the slip line, right? You see how sometimes his head is above the line here, and see how it would have went through the line. You don't always want the slip line to be there. You see how he just went over the line with his head that way, and now he's gonna go over it, under, and he went over this. If it's a slip line, you can't do that. Your head's gonna be hitting it, right? So there's some rolls and stuff you just can't do on a slip line. But if you just have a piece of tape on the ground and you use your imagination, right? Yeah. Anyway, I think we got mostly through most of this stuff. Um, Is he still trying to practice fighting Tank Davis? Why is he throwing this right hand so low here? Right? This doesn't make any sense. But a lot of these punches that he's throwing are very very low. He's not really throwing any punches like as if he was fighting somebody who's taller than him, as bigger than him. And again, my philosophy is we're never practicing to beat someone who's worse than us or who's smaller than us. We always need to be practicing to beat bigger people, beat people who are better than us. Okay. Now, again, another one of those things that you want to think about when you see him on the bags here. You know, when we think about all the things that we see Canelo doing in his fights, oh, we saw him um, on that little slip bar, right? The rival slip bar. We saw him doing some of these head movement drills or head movement on the Cobra bag. All that stuff is congruent with the way that he fights, right? And we see Ryan Garcia doing none of that while he's moving around, right? He's only focused on his striking, not really doing any actual defense, catching or blocking or interacting with a punch and then catching or blocking, right? Here he's finally practicing counters, but like if someone threw a punch at you, right? Hooah! And then they left already. They're not waiting for him to charge his right hand like this, right? And you can see when he rolls under, he has to take a step with his right hand. Remember when in the last video, um, oh, it is still this video here, but he threw that right hand and he had to take the big step into it. Was it on this? Yeah, it was on the aqua bag. It was right there. Right here? No. Last time he was over there. Ooh. Damn, I just missed it somewhere. The left hook. Again, circling and stepping around, not really having any defense while he's doing it. Same old, same old. Slipping? No. Stepping jab. Boom, boom. Probing-ish jab. Now, very interesting. It looks like when he gets to position to throw the left hook, he gets to the front foot, boom, and he has to take a step with the right leg to move into it. Kind of exactly what he did here, where he gets to the line, boom, and now he has to reposition himself with the foot, boom, to throw the hook. Ugly. Very, very bad. You don't want to do it like that. That was a pretty good hook here, right? Couple of setup jabs, right? Before he moves into the hook. But where's that little right hand? No guard. His hands are down. Again, doing this little thing where he's circling this way and he takes a step with the right foot. Very interesting. I'm not sure why he's doing it that way. And then here's that right hand here. Takes a step here. Boom. And that's exactly what it looks like he's doing when he's on the mitt here. And then he has to take the step here, right? You can see him breaking his chain here. Again, that move was going to be very, very difficult for him to actually land and train on somebody. But especially like if somebody threw a punch at him, right? Say they threw a left hook right here, right? Let's just imagine left hook. And then let's say they also threw a right hand. And he's charging up his baseball here, and then walks right into a right hand. Like, if someone just goes left, right, left, right, left, right? There's a whole combination. You're just never going to get this combo off, right? Never, ever. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at Teofimo Lopez. So I haven't seen this video at all, so it'll be my first time getting to see it, so I'm interested. I didn't know I was actually going to see it. I thought it was just shadow boxing. I didn't know he was playing with this thing, but it does say it in the title of the video. But again, I think this is one of I know people think this thing is really cool, and I think at a beginner's level it is, but I want you to just take a look at Teofimo Lopez. Take a look at him. Now, imagine he didn't have the ball on his hand, right? Imagine it wasn't there. Couldn't he just do that without the ball? Now, I know that the ball is going to allow him, it's going to give him a little bit of resistance, right? And it's going to make him have to do some things with his kinetic chain, very similar to hitting the Cobra bag, right? But the Cobra bag has way more weight into it, so it's more obvious. But he could do all this monkeying around without the ball, right? Couldn't he in fact go faster without the ball? Couldn't he in fact throw the punches harder? Couldn't he in fact use better punch technique? Couldn't he in fact do more diverse set of moves? Beat, 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 right? It's making him do something however often, right? Bop, 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 bop. You could do anything at that pace. Not just flail around at this little ball that doesn't actually help you get better at punching anything. Anyway, massive waste of time. Okay. But we got this one, and I want to see this. I thought it was going to be stuff that he was doing with Reynoso, but I don't really care. I haven't seen this video, so I just want to watch it. That's a wild outfit for doing mitts. I don't know how cold it is where they are right now, but that shit's wild. They're not doing anything yet. So, okay, double jab. As soon as they start actually doing something, okay, couple combinations. Some more fake moves. Boom, boom. Psh, psh, psh. Now, when he rolls, he's kinda coming up with the uppercut. Okay, kinda. But it's still, I don't think it's very good. And this doesn't look like very good mitt work, honestly. Boom, boom. It is pretty quick beats of 1-2s. Stepping jab into a 1-2. Are they just horsing around? Boom, boom, 2, pull, 2. What? I mean, I'm confused because it didn't look like they even got into a rhythm. Because normally, like, if you're gonna fuck up a little bit in your mitts, getting into your guys' rhythm, like, and that's okay. It's fine until you guys get into a rhythm and you guys can work together. And it didn't look like they got there. Um, so it does look like they were trying to just set this up for. What the hell was that? Why did the camera do that? Weird. I mean, it's an okay punch. Quick 2-3. So when we think about him sitting on the wall on that stupid ball, right? Ba 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 ba. Isn't this already just insanely better for you than hitting the head ball, right? You can just imagine like one of those Mike Tyson dummies, right? How it has all the numbers on it, and then you hit the 1, then you hit the 2, then you hit the 3, then you hit the 4, right? See how and then you hit the 1 and then the 2 and again, right? But you can just pick different targets on the bag and just tap 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 tap. Infinitely better than the exercise ball that attaches to your head and prevents you from doing anything, right? And also on the same beats, you could do catches and blocks and pulls, and you could do all kinds of things on those beats. You can do other things. You don't have to just control the ball, right? And again, when we go full circle, again, that's exactly what Ryan Garcia is practicing in all of his movements, right? He's only practicing his striking, right? We see Canelo moving around. He practices his head movement, crossing the line, keeping his hands with him. He practices hitting the cobra bag and then pulling, right? Left hand pull, right hand pull. We see him practicing that stuff. Ryan Garcia only practicing his striking. Now, Tio does practice the slipping and stuff on the mitts and stuff, the slipping and the rolling, but it's like, looks like crap as well. A little bit of nonsensical patterns there as well. Not a lot. And the crazy thing is, we literally have seen him do this move at somebody in a fight. We have seen him do that move. But looks like a lot of horsing around here. Pretty quick with the combination here off of the block, boom, boom, catch, block, right? Again, we fight how we train. We see him practice that. Now, again, how often do we see Ryan Garcia practicing some catching, some blocking, some defense on the bag, right? And like here, does anybody respect Teofimo Lopez's defense? Does anybody? I do, right? Those catch and blocks, and here we see him practicing, boom, catch block combination, right? Right on the bag. We fight how we train. It's one of those things. He's like, okay, I'm good at that one. I'll do that one right there. Boom. Confidence to practice and execute it on the bag. Again, now let's say he has got a tennis ball on his head, right? Does the tennis ball allow him to block the tennis ball and then go ba ba ba? No, lame. Even just shadow boxing that is better than having that dumbass ball attached to your head. Okay? But anyway, when we think about the theory of these guys and we think about the way that they fight, we think about the things that they do in their fights, it's consistent. No defense from Ryan Garcia. When he winds up in a disadvantageous position, he winds up just turning his back and bending at the waist, right? Moving to the most submissive position in boxing, right? No control over the line. Whereas Canelo Alvarez has the ability, as we saw, moving around. He does practice some defense. He does practice some good coiling as well, getting low and coming up with shots. But he will, on his own, work on defense, right? Whereas Ryan Garcia was only working on ways to enter the line and throw punches, right? Which is, also a very important skill. Again, check out the Fouts Boxing Academy if you want to learn all that stuff. It's the best way to learn all that stuff. It's super easy. It's $20 a month. It's $160 a year if you want to get a 1-year membership. I highly recommend you getting a 1-year membership. It's way cheaper, and you're gonna just want to be a part of it anyway. It's where all the film study and shit is. A whole community of people learning my system. And eventually, everyone's going to realize that this is exactly the way that everyone should be fighting, and everyone's going to be fighting that way. And you can say you've been one of the ones been doing it the longest. So anyway, yeah, we find out we train, guys.